So in our previous class, we have discussed about the stiffness and how fatigue testing has been done. So in this class also, basically that was the continuation of the previous class. In this class also, we will discuss about more about the fatigue. So as we have already discussed, fatigue damage is basically caused by the tensile forces. Okay, fatigue damage is caused by the tensile forces. So how this fatigue damage causes? Suppose this is a pavement and this is a tire. Just a minute. Just a minute. I am sharing the link again. Now is it visible? Okay. Suppose that this is the top surface of a pavement and this is the tire. So whenever a tire is revolving, okay, whenever a vehicle is moving, in that case, tire will revolve. Now, in that case, there would be two forces which would be acting on the top surface of the pavement. Okay, one force is your compressive force and another force is your tensile force. Now, because of the compressive force, if your subgrade condition is not good, in that case, permanent deformation will happen. Okay, and this permanent deformation is called rutting. Okay, this permanent deformation is called rutting, and because of that rutting or rut failure, you may observe different potholes or pavement damages over the road surface. Now there are other type of damage that is called fatigue damage, which is caused by the tensile forces. And for this reason, what happens? Suppose that is a pavement, you will observe different cracks over the pavement. And in our previous semester, we have already discussed about the different types of failure condition. What are the different shape of that fatigue failure? And based on this fatigue failure, there are different categories of the fatigue failure. Okay, so pavement, in that case, it will uh, have some pavement failure because of that fatigue condition, and this type of failure is called your fatigue failure. So basically fatigue failure happens because of the tensile forces. Okay, because of the tensile forces. Now the voice is clear or not? So each and every pavement should be tested for the fatigue life. Generally, fatigue life is considered to be most significant failure, and when we consider a pavement to be failed, when we observe 50% of the pavement surface having fatigue failure, in that case, it is that total pavement surface is considered to be failed because of that fatigue failure. Now, fatigue results obtained from the laboratory test are generally expressed as a power law relation between the initial tensile strain at the bottom fiber of the beam, the dynamic modulus of the beam, and the number of load application to the failure. Now, number of load application, NF, that is basically nothing but the load repetition. Okay, so here one thing you can observe that it has been told that it is because of the tensile strain. Now tensile strain is generated over there because of the tensile forces, and that is acting at the bottom of the pavement surface. Bottom of the pavement surface means, suppose that is your pavement surface. Okay, so whenever a load is applied, in that case, your tensile forces would be acting in the bottom of the pavement surface, not the total pavement thickness. Don't think that as a total pavement thickness, that is only bottom of the surface, that is bottom of the bituminous surface. Okay, so below this, there would be your subbase layer, base layer, etc., and subgrade layer. So your tensile stresses or tensile strain will be generated at the bottom of the pavement surface. Now it is derived from regression analysis. So regression analysis is a particular term of analysis where you will find out the relationship between different parameters, and these results, whatever value is written over there, whatever equation is given over there, that equation is basically a power equation. That is not a normal equation, or that is not a straight line equation, but that is a power equation. This type of equation is called power equation. Okay, so that is because of the power equation, and your total load repetition would be equivalent to K1 into 1 by epsilon T. Epsilon T is nothing but your tensile strain to the power K2 into 1 by ED, where ED is the dynamic modulus of the beam. Modulus means here modulus of elasticity or modulus of rigidity of the beam into to the power K3. Okay. Now here K1, K2 and K3 are the regression constant. So whenever you are going for the regression analysis, in that case, you will find some constant. These constant are called regression constant. Suppose for the straight line equation, your regression equation would be y equal to mx plus c, where c is your regression constant. Similarly, for the power equation, here we got three constants. These constants are k1, k2 and k3 values. Now, laboratory study shows that these constants are affected by material properties. So there are different material properties, and based on these material properties, this constant value will changes. Now these material properties are stiffness of the mixture. Mixture means that is the mixture of the bituminous material with the coarse aggregate and fine aggregate, air voids present in the mix, bitumen content, and viscosity of the bitumen, gradation of the aggregate, and dimension of the test sample, temperature during the test, and so on. So, what are the different parameters are there? Whatever parameters are there, based on this parameter, this K1, K2, and K3 value will differ. Okay. So basically this K1, K2, and K3 value will be depending on the properties of the mix. Properties of the mix means properties of the bituminous and aggregate mix. Now different temperature resulted in different stiffness modulus of the bituminous concrete, because your bituminous material is very much temperature susceptible, which we already discussed in our previous class, that how stiffness modulus or how different parameters of the bitumen changes according to the temperature of the mixing. So basically, thus bituminous mixes with softer grade of bitumen are expected to have better fatigue life, because in the softer grade of bitumen, what happens? They can stress more than the higher grade of bitumen. So if they can stress more, in that case, failure over the surface would be lower. So therefore, whenever you choose some bituminous gradation, that gradation should be suitable based on the different condition, like the environmental condition where you will place that mix, and according and the strength parameters of the bituminous material. So for this reason, generally you have to perform the ductility test, so that your bituminous material which you will use in that particular situation, that have enough ductility so that it can take all the tensile stresses over there. Now next thing is cumulative fatigue damage principle. So basically M.A. Minor, that is the name of the scientist, while working on fatigue of aluminium metal in 1945, developed a relationship concerning accumulation of fatigue damage, that how fatigue damage will happen. Now this same principle has been adopted for designing bituminous and concrete pavement. So what is the principle? So at a strain level S1, suppose your strain level is S1, this sample is subjected to N1 number of repetition, and at the strain level of S2, suppose this N2 number of repetitions are there. Okay, so this indicates, suppose there are total n number of load repetition. In that case, the total strain over the pavement surface is S1 S1, and a total repetition of N2 load repetition, your pavement load is S2. Your pavement strain is S2 up to the failure of the sample. In that case, N1 divided by capital N1 plus N2 divided by capital N2 plus N3 divided by capital N3 up to infinity would be equal to 1. Where your N1, N2, and N3 are the number of repetition for failure in respect of the individual fatigue load test with strain level S1, S2, and S3 respectively. Now in the in-service road, axial loads of various magnitude means different parameters or different values undergo repetitions on the pavement. So for this reason, because there are different type of load magnitude, therefore it is a practice to convert all the different types of load repetition into a unit load repetition or into a standard load repetition. Okay, so that particular parameter by which you will convert all this load repetition with that single load repetition or standard load repetition, that is called vehicle damage factor or VDF. Now coming to the next question, stiffness modulus of the bituminous mix. So that is very important. Now, resilient modulus, we have already discussed what is resilient modulus. That value is K, resilient modulus. So, generally, that is found out by dynamic triaxial test, which we have already discussed in our previous classes. Resilient modulus is generally used for strength characterization of the soil and granular material. So, we have discussed this, that resilient modulus you will find out from dynamic triaxial test, and that is a very important parameter for the soil subgrade. Now, the modulus used to characterize the bituminous material are complex modulus, dynamic modulus, and stiffness modulus. So basically, there are three modulus which is used to characterize the bituminous material, and these three modulus are complex modulus, dynamic modulus, and stiffness modulus. So in the bituminous mix, when a dynamic load is applied, due to its viscoelastic nature, the load and the displacement do not go in the same phase. That is, your load, if you plot one graph, okay, varying load and displacement, suppose like that, if you plot one graph, suppose here is the displacement and load, that graph will not be straight line graph. Okay, that would be it is not like straight line, it would be like your curve. So in such type of curve, your load and displacement will not be similar or in the same phase. Okay, they will be different. So the variation of the load will not impact the displacement uniformly. Therefore, the dynamic stress and strains can be expressed as real and imaginary parts. Now, the dynamic stress divided by the dynamic strain gives the complex modulus of the mix. Okay, so complex modulus is nothing but dynamic stress divided by the dynamic strain. So, from where you get the dynamic stress, that you will get from the dynamic load. Okay, so that dynamic load divided by the area, you will get the dynamic stress. And from where you get the dynamic strain value could be you could be get from the displacement values. So basically, strain is nothing but the original length divided by changing length. That is change of the length based on the loading condition. So basically, that is the strain. So whenever you apply the dynamic load, in that case, the strain would be also dynamic. So your complex modulus is nothing but stress in the dynamic condition divided by the dynamic strain. So basically, if you go for the modulus, modulus is nothing but the stress by strain. And here three modulus indicates different type of stress divided by different types of strain. Now the magnitude of the complex modulus is called dynamic modulus. Now whatever the magnitude you are getting, that magnitude is the called dynamic modulus. Now next parameter is stiffness modulus. Now stiffness modulus is the ratio of maximum strain and maximum stress and maximum strain in a dynamic test. So in a dynamic test, so for different particular values, suppose you have done the dynamic test. So from the dynamic test, you will get some values for the load versus displacement. Suppose you are getting that curve like that. So from each and every point, you will get some complex modulus. And the value of the complex modulus is nothing but the dynamic modulus. Okay. And from this graph or from this complex modulus or dynamic modulus, you will get a maximum value of the dynamic modulus, be which will be over there because of the maximum stress. Okay, maximum stress and maximum strain. So if you divide the maximum stress by maximum strain in a dynamic loading condition, in that case you will get the stiffness modulus of the mix. Now these are the different stiffness modulus value for different type of bituminous mixes, like bituminous concrete, that is dense bituminous macadam of 80 to 100 grade of bitumen, bituminous concrete and dense bituminous macadam of 60 to 70 grade of bitumen, bituminous concrete and dense bituminous macadam with 30 to 40 grade bitumen, and bituminous macadam with 80 to 100 grade of bitumen, and bituminous macadam with 60 to 70 grade of bitumen. So for these, for different temperature, you will got different type of stiffness modulus based on the temperature. Now the stiffness modulus will changes according to the temperature, because as you know, your bituminous material is highly temperature susceptible. Now one numerical is there. In a fatigue test on bituminous mix, a single point sinusoidal load means that load would be like that. Okay, sinusoidal load, that is basically your dynamic load of 1500 Newton is applied with 10 hertz of frequency. Frequency means 10 hertz of frequency means that will changes at the 10 hertz frequency, because as this dynamic load, so there must be some frequency values to a specimen size of 100 by 100 by 750 millimeter cube. Okay, so a maximum deflection of 1.3 mm was noted, and the specimen was found to sustain 5.3 into 10 to the power 7 repetition till occurrence of the failure. So basically for the failure for this sample, you need 5.3 into 10 to the power 7 of the load repetition, that particular load repetition. Now you have to calculate the stiffness modulus of the bituminous mix at the test temperature. So how to calculate this? First, you have to calculate the deflection. Now, for the point load in a simply supported beam, your deflection value delta is nothing but PL cube or WL cube by 48 EI, where P is the load, L is the length of the beam, E is the stiffness modulus. Okay, and in case of the concrete, E is nothing but your Young modulus, and I is the moment of inertia. So first you have to calculate what is the I, and the formula of I is 1 by 12 into 100 BD cube. Okay, BD cube by 12, that is the formula for I. So I would be 1 by 12 into D is 100, that is width of the section, and depth is also 100. So 100 cube, so you will get a I value of 8.33 into 10 to the power 6 millimeter to the power 4. Now substituting this value in the equation, that is delta cube equal to PL cube divided by 48 EI, you will get this one. So how you will get this deflection value? This deflection value is given in the portion, that is a maximum deflection of 1.3 mm. So, and you know, your stiffness modulus is the modulus representing the maximum stress and maximum strain. And for the maximum stress and maximum strain, you will get the maximum deflection. For this reason, here maximum deflection is used to find out the stiffness modulus value. So you will put all this value over there and you will find what is the value of E. And basically that E is nothing but your stiffness modulus of the mix. So I'm discussing this again, that a modulus portion. So there are basically three types of modulus: complex modulus, dynamic modulus, and stiffness modulus. Complex modulus is in a dynamic testing, your stress divided by strain, that is dynamic stress divided by dynamic strain at each and every point. The magnitude of the complex modulus is nothing but the dynamic modulus, and the modulus for the maximum stress and maximum dynamic strain is basically your stiffness modulus. Okay, now in this question, your load is given. Whatever load is there, their load is given. That load repetition is given. What is the total load repetition? And maximum deflection is given. You have to find out what is the stiffness modulus. So first is you have to find out what is the deflection by deflection formula, and the deflection formula is PL cube by 48 EI. So here you have to find out the I, and what is the value of I? I is nothing but BD cube by 12. So basically that is B into D cube by 12. You will get the value of I. Now substituting all these values in this equation, you will get what is the value of E. The numerical is clear. Okay, you can leave the class.